What's up, everybody? Another wonderful Monday night at Chewin the BBQ Fat. Tell you what, I'm excited about tonight's show. It's going to be a good one. We got some awesome people coming on. Two very special guests here to the barbecue show. Looking forward to it. If you will, like the page, share the page, get it out there to as many people as possible. Hope to have a great show tonight. Kind of cool for me. One of the people that we really look up to in our industry, I've got coming on tonight, and then another one is just a great friend, also, and an incredible cook, rub manufacturer, you name it, he does it in the barbecue world. But I'm excited. Hope everybody had a good week. I know there was a couple contests this weekend down there in Florida. Fred Vegas with a big win over there at in the Florida contest, and then I'm sure we'll get into all the other stuff. But man, I tell you what, last week or 2 weeks ago, one of the biggest contests in the country was going on, and it was really cool to see all about it. And I can't wait to hear about some of these rodeo contests. San Antonio Rodeo winners are coming on tonight. But I can't wait to talk about the Houston Rodeo and just some of this stuff that's going on in Texas. That's just awesome. I just can't wait for people to talk about it, let everybody know what's going on. It seems to be a little different world from what we're used to, so I can't wait. Jason Hardy, how you doing, bud? Good to see you. Thanks for everything you do. Dean Henry, you didn't even ask me if we're having a show tonight. That must mean we're getting back on a good schedule here. But anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get this show started. I know y'all are tired of hearing me talk. I do want to say one thing. If you are trying to get into Sip and Swine, there has been a opening in that. It is full. It is sold out. Can't get in. No way of getting in. There's one way of getting in right now. And if you go to the Georgia Barbecue Championship page, their website, there is an opportunity. There's an auction going on right now for one spot left in that Sip and Swine contest. So if you're trying to get started, if you're trying to get going, and you want to cook a great contest to get the season started, there's the link. My man Jason hooked me up with it. Click on that link, get in there, see if we can't get that up to a good, obviously it's going to a good cause. GBC is trying to raise money, and they're trying to do some wonderful things. But go ahead, and if you're looking for a contest to get in early March, don't have anywhere to go, some of those Texas teams, hopefully they'll caravan over, whatever. But hit that page, go to the auction section, and get into Sip and Swine. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and bring in Bill and Rob. I tell you what's going on, guys?
Stuff going on, Mr. Atlanta Barbecue Store.
How
or Chewin the Fat.
Thanks for having us on, buddy. Thanks for having us on.
I'm a little bit of everything, man. I got my new name here. So StreamYard, they now have this thing where you can put in a subtitle or whatever it is, whoever you want to be. And I was like, man, what could I be? I was like, you know what? Chewin BBQ Fat. I'm the one that talks the most on these things, so I'm going to be the head fat chewer. So here we go. And everybody knows Rob. Robert, he's got one, if not the best, second best. I don't know. I like to say we're the best, but whatever. I think it's a tie. I think we're 1A, 1B.
Yeah.
1A, 1B, right? Let's go with that. Rob, go ahead and tell everybody who you are, what you got, and please talk about your show also.
All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? My name is Robert Rocha. I run a team down here in Texas called Bullhorn Barbecue, and I also am the host of another show that comes on Wednesday nights. And I love Brian's show. I've talked to Brian about it. I love talking to the guys in this. Is it an industry, Brian? I don't know, but whatever we are, right? These fake internet barbecue shows is what I like to say about mine. It was called the So Smoking Gooder Show, but I'm glad to be here. I've been cooking for about 10 years now, and just enjoy everything about competition barbecue and backyard barbecue, and just getting to meet some great people from around the country. And I love it. And if you guys ever see me out in the contests, because I do travel a little bit. I know a lot of these guys are KCBS guys, which I love to do some of those events as well. But if you guys see me, come and say hello.
Awesome. And before we get into Bill, everybody knows Bill. Love that guy. How did you do at the San Antonio Rodeo?
Me?
Yeah.
I did pretty well. I hit what they call semis in the brisket. So that means I was at least in the top 36 out of 288, and then, but I want to say I was 21st in brisket because we don't know. And, but I did get a big call. I was first in ribs, so finished third overall, first in ribs. Man, it was just it was a great weekend for both Bill and I, and a lot of good friends in that regard.
Yep. And speaking of a great weekend, Bill, chicken fried. Tell me about it, man. I mean, I saw the video that Rob posted or made. What an awesome event experience. Tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, I mean, I cooked it for the first time last year. Man, it's relatively expensive. I think last year when I cooked it, it was $700 for an entry fee. So it's, but it's probably the biggest stage in Texas as far as for a comp cook to be able to go and pay. I mean, Houston Rodeo is a different animal altogether in the sense that there's never an open registration. You can't go and register. So Houston's kind of run by legacy teams that have been there forever, and they've built their own kind of nightclubs, if you will. And there's never really any openings, regardless of how well or how bad you do at Houston. The same teams get it every year. So, and some of those teams have been passed down from their fathers. So for a comp cook like me and Rob that are out on the circuit, we can't go compete unless we end up cooking for another team, or, if another team kind of hires a gun to go in, which a lot of us have done that. A lot of us have cooked, go cook brisket for a team or whatever. But San Antonio is historically been one that, man, all of us can go. So the best cooks in Texas can all go there, and it's the biggest stage. So, and my last year was my first time cooking it, which I ended up RGCing, and Rob ended up having a great day as well. I think you were top 10 as well last year, weren't you, Rob?
Yeah, well, 6th overall.
6th overall. Right. So, and we had to exchange banners last year a little bit, but this year he got me in ribs. So it was all good. But yeah, I mean, I cooked it last year and RGC'd it, and there was, I don't know, how many teams were there last year?
About the same. There's 298. There was a 298, 288 this year.
Yeah.
No big deal.
So, and Rob had been asking me, hey, are you cooking? I've looked on the deal. It looks like there's only 3 spots. At one time, it was kind of looking at the map. We were like, man, Devil's River doesn't have the same number of spots. So I wasn't really sure if I was actually cooking, but I thought I was. And I think I told Rob or somebody, man, if I don't get in, I'm not going to pay $2,500, because I think that's what it is now. If you want to get in, it's $2,500. So, man, I'll just go cook another contest. But because I was thinking too, man, there's no way I can top last year. I RGC'd it, man. There's 300 teams. There's no way I'll be able to top last year. I just got lucky. And sure enough,
sounds like an easy contest for you, Bill.
I think all contests should be in San Antonio. So based on my track record, so. But
you told me earlier it's a Lone Star sanctioned event or whatever.
Last year it was IBCA, and this year they chose to go with. It's been IBCA for I'm sure a number of years.
Quite
but
a few years.
Yeah, they decided to. I'm guessing maybe they didn't want CBA. We do pork, and maybe they just wanted to keep it. It's been 3 meats forever, so I'm sure to some degree they probably are used to the format and of chicken, brisket, and ribs. So they chose Lone Star, which was fine enough. Their Lone Star scoring system mirrors IBCA's old system, where you only get points for 10th place and above. So 11th place gets 0 points. The same as 288th gets 0 points. So first place gets 10 points, and it progressively works its way down to where 10th place is only worth 1 point. So, I feel like that you get a couple of top calls. But, there was another team, JD Williams. They had 2 8th place calls. They had an 8th place rib and an 8th place out of 3 meats. 8th place rib, 8th place brisket, and they didn't make top 10. Because 8th place is only worth 3 points. 2 8th places is 6 points, and 6 points. 5th place,
first place rib got him 10 points ahead of him.
Got him 10 points. Yeah. So Rob finished 3rd overall. First place brisket was Aaron Leslie. He reserved it with 10 points. I mean, Rob actually tied the reserve. Both of them had 10 points, but brisket's the tiebreaker in Texas in that sanctioning body. So it goes brisket, ribs, and chicken. Yeah.
So,
So
how many
you're
points
third,
did you?
fourth, and fifth. What's that?
How many points did you end up with?
I got 14. So I had a fifth place rib, which is worth 6 points, and then a third place brisket worth 8 points. So I was 14 points. Yeah.
Well, what normally wins? How many points normally win a contest?
Man, sometimes first place brisket could win a contest that size.
Okay.
That size, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
It's happened.
Yeah.
Which is why, it's as a cook, it's not what you're when going into it what you got to do, but it doesn't make you feel good when you're going in knowing, hey, like JD, 2 walks and he got bested by, he got bested by a third place or a fourth place even. So just one guy with a fourth place call tied him, so he would have beat that one, but a third place actually beat him. So going in, you got to cook good food and then get very lucky with a lot of these big contests, but even more so than with 5 rounds. They have 5 rounds of judging. They go and your food is getting through the ringer on each round. And so it's tough, very tough. And that going in, but it still doesn't make you feel good when you're on the grounds.
Yeah. I mean, you could get 3 10th places and that's worth 1 point. You could walk all 3 meets with a 10th, and a 10th, and 3 points won't get you top 10.
Nope.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So that's cool though. I mean, it sounds a lot like MBN in a way and GBA and all that kind of stuff, to where, that the best meat wins the contest. That one, the best meat of the day wins the whole thing. It doesn't matter. You could suck in everything else, but if you cook one good meat, you got a chance to win the thing.
You need one good brisket to got a chance to win it. You can't win it with first place ribs.
No, damn it! You cannot.
You could get real close. You could reserve it with first place ribs. But you can't win.
Get you in the game.
Yeah.
But I did hear the argument from, like you said, the best meat wins. So that meat is going through, a lot of judges, right? So you're basically got a single round contest for 5 rounds, right? You got a contest here, and then you're going to go back to this one and do it, and it goes up. So at the end of the day, those meats did walk. They were the best that day because obviously they went through the ringer and they got tested by a number of different people. So it does funnel it down. It takes that one bite winner out of the contest, I think. So you got to have them good throughout. And I guess you got it. Obviously, you get your, those bones are something you're trying to hide in the back of the box. Probably not hiding. Those are going to get touched. Yeah. So
that's great. How many ribs did you turn in?
9. It's mandatory 9.
Yeah.
Oh, 9 is the mandatory.
Yeah,
mandatory.
No flexibility.
9 ribs, 9 slices, and 2 chicken halves in that contest.
Oh, you can get that in a box. It's crazy.
Big box. The chicken box is a big box. Okay. So.
But
I think as cooks, Texas cooks, all of us look to. I mean, I think San Antonio is probably one of the bigger ones that we all look towards as one of the coolest places to walk. As far as I think Rob's got a video, just kind of showing you the stage and all the rest of it. It's just a really it's a really super. It's kind of like the Royal in the sense that it's just they got a professional MC guy up there, a radio guy, calling it out. So it just seems a bit more. A bit more big stage to walk, if you will. So
yeah. So my buddy Blaine Hunter, I was talking with him, and he actually went out. He went down to the San Antonio Rodeo, I believe. He said he was going down there.
He was there. I was 2 spaces down from Blaine.
I love that guy. He's hilarious, great guy.
He's great dude, great guy.
Yeah, Blaine's great. Yeah.
I want to say his dad was in maybe Houston or one of those that he was able to get to.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. Like, I mean, just hearing his stories leading up to the San Antonio Rodeo. Was pretty cool. So what else is going on at this contest at the rodeo?
Well, I mean, there's obviously they got a whole list, much like our Houston rodeo, for the next month. Every night they're having a rodeo as well as a concert. So they bring in, Cody Jinks, and I'm not sure their lineup, but it's probably just as solid as Houston's lineup as far as musicians coming in and playing every night. So they sell a lot of tickets, and there's a ton of public down there watching. I'm not sure what the bands were that played. Do you know, Rob, that played there that night?
No, I don't.
So we're more into the competition, but there is, I guess, live music that's happening. And
yeah, there's a lot of teams partying out there. There's a lot of cooking demonstrations. There's a lot of teams out there that, they're inviting people in to come and, like I was part of with Joey Machado and Texas Original Charcoal. They were bringing teams in and doing live fire demonstrations. It's pretty cool. It's a very inviting competition. And like Bill said, San Antonio Rodeo to me, aside from Houston, maybe the most prestigious one to win. But even including Houston, I feel it might be the hardest one to win just because of, the nature of the contest with the 5 rounds now. But the teams that are there, there's a lot of quality teams because it was something that you could get into to where it's like Bill was mentioning. Houston, you have to know somebody and they're grandfathered in, and there are some good cooks out there, but it's kind of peppered throughout the contest, where I feel like San Antonio, there's a majority of solid cooks out there for that event.
So Chicken Fried won that contest, not some other company that you were cooking for, right, Bill?
Chicken Fried Care with Devil's River Whiskey, because Devil's River Whiskey was my sponsor.
Yeah.
So Devil's River Whiskey paid, I think, for 6 spots as well. I mean, they had a whole band, live music. They had all their clients out there, and then they had paid for 6 sets of turn-ins. So I was the head cook on one of the sets of turn-ins.
Let me tell you how hard it is to get with Devil's River, because I was with them last year and I finished 6th overall and they kicked me off the team, Brian. That's how hard you have to finish in the top 2. And that might even be true because Fred Robles also didn't get the back end invite. He got kicked off and he won it last year.
And he won it last year. So.
This Devil's River team, they're not playing, man. They will kick you off. Right off of there.
How was their whiskey, Bill?
Man, I don't drink, so I think that's why they keep me around. I'm not killing all the alcohol, so
you're not taking all the
Rob's intake last year on whiskey might have been a little bit over, and
I can attest it's fine whiskey, and the agave version of it was mighty tasty. Tasty. Devil's River, if you're listening.
There you go. Sounds like a great plug-in. I like that.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I went to, I know our buddy Adam Goutreau a couple years ago, he went to Houston Rodeo and he won, and it was like, but he won under some other team name. And then Jay Durbin, I remember at Memphis in May, he won ribs under another name, right? Like, because it's that whole deal of, and it's interesting to me because you're going to do all this stuff and you're not really getting any credit for it. Somebody else is, but I don't know. But I like that about San Antonio. Where
on IBCA and Lone Star, everything like it's done by the head cook's name. So, and Houston Rodeo is done by the head cook's name. So there's only one head cook. So whoever, Adam, and I know Adam very well, he was cooking, and it's not uncommon that teams will ask people to come in and cook all 3 of their meats, but they won't change. They may have Rob doing ribs, me doing brisket, and another guy doing chicken, but yet none of us are listed as the head cook.
Right.
So they're listed as the head cook. But in San Antonio, I was listed as the head cook for my turn-in. So and with that, San Antonio's got a couple of agreements with other rodeos and other events where they swap spots. So next year I'll get to cook Houston. Houston's one of those, Houston Rodeo.
Well, they have that Champions Row or something like that.
Yeah. So Fred won last year, the San Antonio Rodeo. So this year Fred's going to be on Champions Row as the San Antonio winner. I think they have maybe 4 or 5 spots in Houston that are Champions Row, the Jack, the Royal, San Antonio. The previous winner of the Houston Rodeo gets another, if you win it, you get to come back the next year and cook on Champions Row.
Barbecue Austin's another.
And Barbecue Austin. Them are the main ones that all sit on Champions Row. So
so what is Barbecue Austin?
It's another rodeo. It's happening in a couple of weeks after Houston. And it's, probably going to be 200 teams, I would think. So that one is sanctioned by CBA. Austin Rodeo is sanctioned by CBA. This will be the first year. Last year it was Lone Star, but they've decided to go Chastain saying 8 international teams. There was, I don't know how many international teams were at San Antonio, but there was probably quite a few of them, huh, Rob?
Yeah. There's probably 8. He may have the right number. Okay. 260 at Austin. Wow. All
okay.
right.
260.
It is definitely rodeo season down here in Texas. We got Houston.
I was about to say,
Austin.
Pork coming up too, right?
Yeah, there will be pork, I believe. Manuel can confirm if there's pork. I'm pretty sure there's pork at Austin Rodeo.
Blaine, are you going to Austin? I know you knew about Austin. He's asking if there's pork at Austin. I guess you just saw that. Justin West is going to go to Austin. Apparently, are y'all going to Austin?
Man, I get a free spot, so I'll be there.
Oh, yes. I do not get a free spot, but I am going.
Yeah.
Look at Bill. Bill's got free spots coming from all over the place right now. This guy.
I mean,
they pay Bill. A rumor is they pay Bill to come and, hey, Bill, will you come and make an appearance? You don't have
Man, if they would pay me in chewing tobacco, I would come, So.
Just be here, please.
Right.
So Carlos said no pork, only 3 meats. So what are the 3 meats?
Oh, brisket, chicken, and ribs then.
Okay. And is that so it's CBA, right? So
yep.
I don't know anything about what's going on, so I hope I do not stir up anything by saying this. But the chicken is it's a CBA, so the chicken is going to be
anything goes.
CBS person could come in there and figure out chicken now.
Yep. They can come cook legs or thighs or whatever.
Is it the same? Like, would you say because I've heard in the past y'all talk about CBA, some of the Texas where you have to overcook them a lot because they have to last forever, and you cut them with a fork and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's still knife and fork. So the difference, the main CBA and KCBS, they both have cumulative scoring systems. So it's cumulative. We don't have certified judges, and they still cannot use their hands because we run about 10 to 12 boxes on one table of 6 judges. So we don't have placemats and all this stuff for people to. So they go in and they cut a piece of rib meat off of a rib bone, and the softer it is, the easier it is for them to cut it. You want to make it easy, and these are not trained judges, so they're just people off the street, and most of them like a fall off the bone rib.
So how many people can get a taste of one rib?
Well, I mean, you have to I can put 6 ribs in the box, and each judge gets their own rib to cut off of.
Okay.
I mean, theoretically, but people will put 8.
Put 2 of them in there. I mean, honestly.
Okay, so it's not like the 5 rounds and the other thing.
No, it's single round.
Okay. So
CBA is single round.
Okay. So you're not trying to get
no
50 bites out of those knives like you are in.
Nope.
You do want it tender, probably more tender than KCBS. I do. I want it more tender than KCBS just because they're not able to pick up a rib and see if it got, bites really well. They have to use the knife and fork. So, an overcooked, and their palates aren't as sophisticated as the KCBS judges that are judging every week. Right. So I've turned in some mushy ass ribs and they've hit really well and these guys are just, there's probably never judged before. It's the first time judging. They get in there and they try a rib and it just melts and they think, man, this is, I've had comments, this thing fell off the bone perfectly. So it's a different, versus the same KCBS judges that are judging every weekend. They don't pick up the mush quite as much as those KCBS judges pick up on mush. So they're just not that sophisticated yet. So
mush is bad.
Yeah. So
mush is bad.
In KCBS, yes. Okay.
And I still don't want to really overly mush mine to a certain degree, but I definitely want them over. So
Rob, you said you do some KCBS also.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done. I do the Royal every year. I do not recommend making
party of the year.
Team of the year for what, like 10 years in a row, or something like that?
Like 5 years in a row. Let's get it right, Brian.
Not bad. I just know you're a rock star
on that.
I'm just looking this year. My goal this year is to not win a grand, so I don't have to cook the invitational, so I can go out Friday night and do all the partying at all the parties.
I tell you what, you had that big brisket walk though, bro. Huh?
Man, that was awesome.
Come on.
Oh, man.
First 180, only 180 ever. I get it at the Royal.
Nice. Nice.
Hey, you're gonna make it one time, make it there at the Royal. That's for darn sure.
Right.
Yeah, I've done a few of them. I do not recommend making the Royal your first 4, which is what I I had done. I would go to the Royal, and those were my first 4 KCBS events. Since then, I've done quite a few more. I still feel like a rook when I go and do them, but I got a 700 under my belt. I did that this year, going up there a week before the Royal. I've got a couple of one Royal walk. And let's be accurate.
You hit
My
third
wife,
overall in Shawnee, didn't you? The week before the
yeah,
Royal,
at third overall.
Yeah.
That was fun. Nice.
That was a
700.
700, wasn't it? Or no?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah, I still feel like I said. I still feel like a rook when I go do them because you're out of practice doing them. But now that CBA has kind of adapted, and now we've got chicken pieces, so chicken thighs or chicken legs, whatever I decide to do, won't be so foreign to me anymore. And pork to me is pork, and rib is ribs, and brisket's brisket. You just kind of talk about the texture and the tenderness factor. That's all. But chicken was like how do we do the legs? What temp are we taking thighs? Those were questions. As a rook going into them. Now I feel like it's just going to be another contest with greens in the box. So it's all the same. Barbecue's barbecue, right?
I agree. I mean, we try to overthink it sometimes, where if you just go in there and cook good food, you'll be all right.
yeah.
And get lucky. Cook good food, get lucky.
You hit the right table. Hit the right table.
Exactly.
And it is what it is. And I still say, yes, you got to hit the right table. But, it's amazing to me. The good cooks always come out. They can hit a bad table and still do well. It's you can't worry about tables. You got to get off the whole table thing and go cook good food, and you'll be fine. Right? That's the way it works. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, just seeing some of these top teams, they can do it all, right? But anyway. So Bill, tell me a little bit about chicken fried barbecue rub, Texas rib grind.
Texas rib grind. Yeah, no, it's been out now for 2 years. I mean, it does really well in Texas. Probably sells a lot more in Texas than the rest of. It's more of a coarser rub. It's not a real flat rub. Like I said, it's got a lot of texture to it. So,
it's a
you can spot it.
Now.
You do have Atlanta barbecue store. That's
Yeah,
right.
I mean, we sell a good bit of that. I mean, on our side of things. So,
yeah,
it's not just Texas. This stuff is good everywhere. Like, don't sell yourself short, Bill.
Right.
So, there is stuff outside.
No, there is, and there is people. I mean, I know guys in St. Louis barbecue. They're running it. They're using it. I mean, there are people all over. I've been real fortunate. Like I said, it was my first rub to come out, and it's been really good. Whether, Big Papa Smokers carries it on his website, so. It's on all the major, it's made its rounds to, all the major barbecue stores and like I said, online stores that most all of us have shopped at one time or another. So, but yeah, it's.
And I want to say we were one of the first to carry it. I'm just going to throw that out there.
You probably were. That's right. So
I will say it was
about you, Bill.
All right.
I will help Bill here. It was on the first place rib last weekend.
Rob beats me with it all the time. So.
I'm telling you, it's a great product.
He beats me with it all the time.
This product, and it's not just on ribs. I mean, I know people using it on brisket. I know people using it. I mean, on it's everywhere. So, I mean, it's one of those rubs that is. I mean, it can accompany anything. I mean, it's just an incredible rub that you need to add to your arsenal. If you do not have this rub in your arsenal yet, you have got to get it. Man,
I put it on everything. So every meat I do gets a layer of it. So
bass boat. That's what we say.
Yeah, bass boats. Robert Smith
with the little pepper,
bass boat.
with the little pepper flakes on there. Bass boat. I see bass Blaine's in the comments. What's up, Blaine? I got to hang out with Blaine at San Antonio. He was 2 spaces down. When you have an American Royal champ asking me about chicken, it was great. I enjoyed hanging out with him. And when you got to return the favor when I go up to KC, Blaine. But yeah, it was good.
He is a great guy. So much fun to hang out with.
Super guy.
But anyway,
he just needs to win Houston. He's already won the American Royal. He's won Team of the Year. He just needs to win Houston, especially since he's from Houston. That would be great. So
I'm pulling for him. I'm pulling for all of you.
I think it'd be great, man. I think it'd be great for Blaine to freaking knock down Houston for sure. So
he'll be in Austin.
Yep, and he'll be in Houston. So
And Houston. All right, there you go.
He's going to be
That's
at
right.
all. He's sitting that whole Texas, the whole rodeo up.
He's doing the rodeo tour, man.
doing the tour. So
if there's Rob, if there was one contest that you had to cook every year, which one would it be?
This will be my first year to cook Houston as myself. I'm cooking as like I'll be a head cook for a team, but man, one contest all year. I really enjoyed that San Antonio Rodeo, man. Just the stage. It's still not what people are recognizing as a world championship, but it has all the fields. It's got international teams there, so it's well on its way to becoming one. It
makes you feel like a world champion when you win it.
Does it, Bill? I wouldn't know.
Somebody messaged me, does this make you a world champion? I said, man, I'm not really sure, but I feel like a world champion, So.
Hey, you're a world champion to me, buddy.
You are a world champion, and I hope they do recognize that, Bill, as a world champion, because that would mean I'm a world champion rib cook. But
I don't know who they is. I don't know who they.
It's us, me and Brian, the guys that do this.
That's right.
For a living, they don't get paid for it, right, Brian?
Exactly.
So,
this is our full-time job that we get nothing out of. It's great.
Right.
Yeah. No, I mean, I wasn't going to get into that, but that's kind of funny you said that. But yeah, whoever wants to claim it, I guess you can claim it as a world.
But I mean, at the same time, too, I think and I don't know. Obviously, Blaine and Fred and others, man, you win the American Royal. I'm sure that's a little bit. I mean, don't get me wrong, San Antonio is great, but I'm sure winning the Royal, that's to me, that's or the Jack. Those are to me. Houston isn't as. To me, I don't know. I feel like the Jack and the Royal are a step above Houston Rodeo myself, just because, and let us all in there to cook it. And I guess the Jack does that too, but anybody can go to the Royal and cook it. So
yeah, I mean, that cat won both of them. University Q, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow, QU,
that's what it was. My bad. That was great. And I interviewed him that next night. Monday night afterwards. I think everybody was just so exhausted. But it was like, I don't think he knew what hit him. Right. I mean, I don't think. I was like, do you know what's about to happen? He's like, it's fine. I was like, no, dude, you just freaking won back to back, the Invitational and the Open, man. That is big.
Right.
That was the first time it happened, right?
Yeah,
I think so.
Amazing.
Yeah.
What an amazing feat.
No one goes there expecting to be a two-time world champion,
Right. I mean,
you go there and leave a two-time world champion. So that's crazy.
I mean, Rob, it's not quite like winning the 5 in a row party of the year. That's
nothing.
That doesn't compare to that.
That does not even.
I mean, I wasn't going to bring that up, but I think
it's a world champion party of the year.
Yeah, he's a world champion party
5 times.
I mean, is there anything else? I mean, so how does that, what is your planning? And I don't know why I'm even talking about this, but what is your planning going into the team of the party of the year at the Royal?
Well, you just try to get everybody shit-faced drunk and then have a good time doing it and give them good food. No, seriously, there are judges that come around and they give you a little timeline of when they will be there. And I've said this before, it's like all you got to do really to win party of the year is entertain these judges. Make a big deal when they come into the room, into your space. We pop confetti bombs. We tell the DJ to, make an announcement. We make them feel like
off his shirt.
Yeah, that's happened before. But we make them feel like the most important people in that space, and our crowd is giving them play white people music. Yeah, our crowd is cheering for them. So these people feel very special when they come into the space, and we give them special drinks, we give them food. Really, we're just entertaining them, and that's it for us. So we are officially retired from the party of the year. We're going out on top. We're going out like
he's going for the big meats now. He's done with party of the year. He's going for big meats.
I mean, I had no excuses, but I was wore out on Sunday when that day came around, the biggest day in our sport, Sunday at the American Royal. I was not myself, but no excuses. But it's just it's a grind, and so before it was just have fun on Friday, have that off day because I wasn't cooking the Invitational, and then go for it on Sunday. But now doing all three, it was rough. It was rough. Play Sweet Caroline. Yes, that helps. Yeah. Definitely helps.
Oh man. So Bill, what's next for you?
Man, this weekend we've got another world championship to go to. So this weekend we will be in Mercedes, Texas, and they will have, I think, probably over 200 teams. It's one of the biggest sanctioned cook-offs in Texas as well. They're giving away 50,000. I heard it's like $10,000 per category.
Mhm.
It's CBA, so and they are cooking pork, so there's 4 meats. But yeah, they're a $50,000 prize purse, and there'll be, I'm sure, over 200 teams. I don't know the head count, but it's a big one. So
I think they're going to be pushing 260, 280 as well.
Is that right?
At
Yeah.
down there, they got Midland. The band's going to be performing on Friday.
Midland,
night
the
out
band
there.
is playing. So
Yeah, so
Y'all
it's a
are
big deal.
time. I tell you what, all these contests out there in Texas, I mean, y'all don't mess around.
There's some big ones for sure.
It's
There
a
is.
big
What kind of venue hosts a 280? I mean, because this sounds is this a big venue? Is it like who is hosting 280 teams?
Yeah, it's like their convention center down there in the valley, in the Rio Grande Valley, and it's on a big, huge parking lot, and they've got a big what's the
spider
arena?
freaking wires everywhere for power and all that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they go
Power,
big time.
Power, water, everything.
No power water.
And they got a huge committee. I mean, they're raising millions of dollars. This smoking on the Rio. I mean, they're raising. I mean, they've got a huge committee. I don't know how many people are on their committee, but they raise a few $1 million. So
That is
it's
amazing.
yeah, and it's a pretty big. Like I said, the whole valley is involved. I think in smoking on the Rio. It's massive, and it's always historically been on the same weekend as Houston Rodeo.
Oh, really?
They've always had it on the same weekend, and smoking on the Rio would still always get their 200 and 250 teams, even with Houston Rodeo going, because most of the cooks can't cook Houston.
Right. I was about to say it's not a.
You can't get in. Blaine Hunter has a story. He wanted to get in, and I'll let Blaine tell you when he called down there, and he finally told him, "No, I'm not going to pay all that to get in," and he went and won the American Royal and got in the next year anyway. So
right.
Yeah.
When you're good like that, when these guys are good like that, we're you host whatever. But these guys, they can go out there and they can be like, you know what, you didn't let me in. Watch this. I'm gonna go win the Royal and get in.
Yeah,
I'll show you. Yeah, they're not all this big, but these first couple months, Bill was asking me, and I was telling him my schedule. I was like, Bill, I don't cook any events less than 100 teams, my man. So it's just working out that way. I would gladly welcome a 25 team cook-off right now, but my first 6 contests of the year are all 100 plus teams and shit. Some of them are some of them are over 200 teams. So it's not the best way to go about it, but man, you just keep plugging away and you get lucky every now and then. So that's kind of,
and all your friends are going to be there. All the people you cook, they're all going to the big ones. I guess there are some people that are maybe not going to the big ones, but most of us, that cook pretty regularly are all chasing down the big ones. So, I mean, smoking on the Rio it'd be a big win. It's a massive win. So
I'll be huge.
Yeah. So
have y'all seen on Facebook and stuff the Jealous Devil contest with the 50,000? Do y'all know anything about that?
I don't even know where it is.
No.
Man,
I'm Team Royal Oak. So,
well, I don't think you have to be part of Jealous Devil to cook it.
Oh, do you?
No, I don't think. I think it's a.
Where's it at? Any idea where it's at?
I want to say Oklahoma, but I am making that up. So I don't know. Humble Rodeo. I haven't heard about that one lately. Where's that at, Bill? You won that one too?
I won that one a couple of years ago.
Humble is where I met Bill.
That's right.
I didn't meet Bill there, but that was your first contest, wasn't it, Bill?
It was one of my first contests.
Okay, that was.
Yeah, I think it was like contest number 2.
Yeah,
I think it was my second contest.
It's been fun to see the Bill Purvis meteoric rise through just really 4 or 5 years ago, not cooking to having to wait for him at Buc-ee's while he signs autographs, trying to get out of there. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, I remember seeing Bill just starting, and man, it's been great watching, and he's really dove head first, 2 feet in, however you want to say it, man. He's really taken it and just ran with it. And to see him as the Duck Fat national spokesperson, it's really been great to see everything.
We love
The
it.
guy, there's a guy in your chat, Carlos Calzada. He
Yep.
actually won Humble Rodeo this year, so he GC'd, and it's the same weekend as San Antonio. So for years, if people didn't go to San Antonio or vice versa, you would pick one or the other.
Right.
But yeah, Humble was a huge win as well. I mean, it was, there's over 100 teams there. I think when I won, it was 118. I think this year there may have been more. And it's a lot of the rodeo teams kind of warming up for the Houston Rodeo, I think, isn't it, Rob? A lot of teams.
Yeah. A lot of teams that are down there that are going to be cooking Houston will go to Humble Rodeos like a primer and get ready for that, which is the following month. So, hey, congratulations, Carlos. He did a great job.
Congrats to Carlos. I mean, that was, like I said, it was a buckle that was my favorite buckle. Now I got a new favorite buckle. So
got buckles all over the place.
Man, I want to get one of them Houston buckles, so I'll get a chance next year to cook it. So I just got to get Rob to teach me how to do chicken and ribs, So.
Come on, baby. Come on.
Tell you what. I remember I got to meet Bill through his East Coast swing.
Yeah.
And that was really awesome. I got to hang out with him and Fred and Lee Hickle and that whole crowd. It was awesome to see. A lot of fun, great people. Some of the greatest people in barbecue. And we always say all the time, and Rob, I know you would agree, barbecue people are some of the best people in the world, right? Like, I mean, you get to meet and we get to interview and meet and talk to some of the most incredible people accomplished in this industry or whatever you want to call this barbecue world that we live in. And it's just, and I put Bill at the top. I mean, he's up there with the best and as just a great guy. I'm happy to see. I always say you love to see good things happen to good people, and that is definitely, in my opinion, what's going on with Bill. I mean, just great guy.
I got super lucky, So it was 2 years in a row there. So I'm not going to complain. So well, I mean, there's a lot of good cooks, like I said. That's, all those guys that walked in brisket, they walk regularly in brisket. You know what I mean? When you look at the brisket walks from San Antonio, those are the guys that are, and similar to the ribs as well. Kit Polk, he's usually always walking in ribs. He walks San Antonio. Robert Smith's always walking in brisket and ribs usually, but I think he finaled ribs. Chris Schaefer, he's going to start with the chicken and shit. Oh, God.
He's the most interesting man in barbecue.
Oh, yeah, Schaefer.
Once turned in like 5 times, still got a
he's got 100 of them. He's got 100 of them. Yeah.
I believe it, though. Hey, he may be joking, but I totally believe that story.
Anybody can get away with it, it's Bill.
He's got some good ones. He turned in empty boxes and still 180. He's got 100 of them. So
he's got 100 of them.
Oh, he does. Yeah.
Chris is a great guy. Good friend of the show. We love Chris. Good dude.
Oh yeah.
So I was going to ask you a little bit, Bill. I know you are, amongst the other many things you do in barbecue, you're also on the board or founder, or whatever, of CBA. So
is Rob. Me and Rob both are.
Okay, good. Yep. I thought you were Rob, but I wasn't 100% sure, so I didn't want to look like an idiot, which I did. Yeah. Tell me a little bit about what's going on with CBA these days.
Man, it's just growing. I mean, the reality is it's just that, and more cooks now that we've been around, everybody wants to cook pork, which I think has been the biggest success of CBA is that, Texas for years have been, half chicken, ribs, and brisket. And now we have people really, searching contests that they really, they would like Austin to have pork if Austin's not going to have pork. A lot of the top teams are enjoying cooking pork, which I think is great. And I think the chicken change too. It's going to make everybody more competitive at the Royal. It's going to make Texas cooks, to cook outside of Texas if they can cook thighs and have a place to turn them in and see what kind of feedback you can get. It's single round judging, and there's no big changes on the forefront. We'd like to get into outside of Texas. We had our first one in Louisiana, so we would like to grow that. But equally so, I've cooked a lot of KCBS, and there is something to be said for certified judges. So, and most cooks, most KCBS want they don't want to cook to a moving specification, which is really what Texas is, you're cooking to specs that move. One guy wants a fall off the bone rib, another guy, he's watched Pitmasters or something, and he's dinging you with a comment saying, hey, it's overcooked, because he's actually maybe watched something or follows something. So the spec always moves with CBA and with Lone Star and IBCA as far as what good barbecue is. There's no no definition. Whereas KCBS, I think most of the cooks there, man, even though the judging sometimes doesn't get it right, where they think they've turned in a perfectly cooked rib and get hammered on texture or whatnot, is still, I guess, subjective in that sense. But at least they're attempting to train and get people to cook to a spec. So I think outside of Texas, most KCBS cooks won't, they want certified judging. It's the first question most of them ask at a contest is what percent certified? Yeah, exactly. So
and that's what we dealt with and everything else. And we're trying to do the J Cup judges and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
For the extended training and all that kind
Sure.
of stuff. But in that, if not everybody does it and people get trained at different times, I do think Casey, and I know I'm piss off a lot of people by saying this, I do think KCBS judges do a really good job of knowing what they're looking for. It's just we anyway, that's a whole nother rabbit hole to go down.
Well, I thought they did a pretty good job at the Jack. I think Chris would agree that the judges did well at the Jack. So
let's just
CBA real quick. We just had our second year, our end of our second year, and we just had a world championship, a banquet that went good. We're still in our infancy, really, if you think about it, and we're still adapting. We just did some rule changes that I think are going to help us grow, and we're seeing a lot of teams that we're doing, other organizations that we're kind of seeing them more regularly doing these, getting involved with, our points chase and our point system. And so I just think it's steady growth is what our goal is right now. And it still continues to do that going into year 3. So I do think big things are ahead for us for CBA, and would love for people that haven't been able, a lot of your people haven't. So if you, they do get a chance to come and cook one of our events, please come over. And if you have questions, you can reach out to myself or Bill, and we'll gladly answer any questions that you may have. But I encourage everybody that has a chance to cook a CBA event to go out and see what it's all about. Schaefer, I know I just saw his comment. One, CBA is a real deal, and 2, it hates his food. That's not true, Chris, but it's growing, and we're seeing a lot of.
And
Schaefer
growth. Killed it. He walked in ribs and brisket at Uvalde, which is another signature event. In Texas.
If Schaefer doesn't sweep an event, he thinks it's not. When you're that, when you're Chris Schaefer, he's got different standards than the rest of us. Somebody wants to hear a woo. I don't know what that's all about, but let y'all figure that
woo.
Woo.
It's Jason Sagmiller, Ray Screw Drums. Yeah, he's my boy.
I got you. Woo. Rob, tell people about how they can watch. Wes Garrett, I'm really highly disappointed in you. You're talking about 2 badass cooks. You're right. We do have 2 badass cooks on here, but we also have 2 badass internet talk show guys on here.
That's
too.
right.
So just
one,
leave
one badass or 2 badass, internet talk show guys, and one guy that does no internet badass shows.
Honestly, Bill's on these shows more than you and I are, Brian. So he's done more of these than we have. So,
Rob gets grief on his show. I think this guy sets a record,
He's got more experience than we do. From what I understand, he's going to be on another show again tomorrow.
We got to cut out at 9 so he can get back on it.
He's got another one coming on. He's got him back to back to back. It's amazing. This guy's so awesome. So tell us, somebody just asked where they can watch your show. Can you tell people where they can watch your show?
Absolutely. We're on.
Explain what your show is. It's similar to this, but explain to what your show is.
Yeah, very similar to this. We started as a Texas-centered show, and we're kind of expanding. We've had some KCB. Chris Schaefer's been on. I want to get Wes on. You as well. We've had Chris Webb on, Joe Pierce, Brad. So we ventured out, but we generally our camp is in Texas, and so we talk to a lot of Texas. But we talk, we do. What are we laughing at here?
I'm laughing at Wes Garrett. His wife speaks in one of my shows.
I love Wes. Yeah, we're Bill's guest tonight. But yeah, no, it's a barbecue show, man. We talk barbecue. We talk to a bunch of other cooks from all over the country, mainly in Texas. We hit on, results from we do upcoming events. We just have a lot of fun on our show, and just like you guys do. And if you want to find us, we're on Facebook mainly. We're also on YouTube and Twitch. We always come on Wednesday nights at 8:00 Central. You can find us on here, and we affectionately call our people who watch our show the Gooder Gang. So if you guys want to join us, come on. We like I said, encourage everybody to watch this on Monday and then come see us on Wednesday night. And
So Smoking Gooder Show is the name.
So Smoking Gooder Show. Absolutely. Thanks for that, Brian.
I think he does an awesome job. I mean, we got to talk about it a good bit out of the Royal, and, love to see what people are doing, putting in. I mean, he's got a great heart for barbecue. He loves barbecue. He's really putting it into a lot. And anytime somebody's doing something good for barbecue, I think it's great. And I will push it.
Shavers has been on Rob's show more than he's been on Brian's.
We talked about earlier, Rob, like trying to get people on, and if Schaefer has probably turned me down more than anybody else. But
man,
he's a busy man. He's a busy guy.
We don't have a budget. We have a zero budget. I'll throw in a bottle of rib grind. Oh, I won't. Bill will.
Bill will. I mean, he's gonna take that and run with it. It's awesome.
Make it rain.
Schaefer, Schaefer's awesome. I've never turned Rob down.
True story.
True story.
And he's a Cowboy fan. Little people know Chris Schaefer's a Cowboy fan.
Oh wow, Aaron Stover's on here too. Is that why you are the coach? Yeah, Wes he's been one of my guys for a while. Have you had Wes Garrett on?
No, I want to get both of you guys on, but I would love to get Wes on. I ran into Wes, met him. He probably doesn't even know this story, but we were both on stage at the Royal, and I said, "Hey, I love that team name." I didn't know this was Wes at the time, and it was politically incorrect. I did not.
Right.
I did not know that, and then I found out that's what I was like. Oh, that's the guy. That's Wes. That was a couple years ago. Good dude for sure.
That's awesome.
You haven't seen him much since, huh?
So yeah, he might start cooking again. So Carlos is asking about the power rankings. So you do a power rankings on your show?
I do, kind of like a football power rankings. This stirs up, and that's one thing Bill knows. I like kind of the stir.
He loves to stir it up.
I do, and we do a power rankings probably once every quarter or so. But I'm gonna do it a little more. Bill probably wants to know where the new power rankings are out now that he won San Antonio.
Man, I don't know if I'm gonna make it on page 1. He's got me buried.
He was on page 2. You were
buried on page 2.
You were just right outside of the top 10, 11th place. You get 0 points for that, by the way.
BS.
Yeah, we do.
They are BS. You got that right, Chris.
Schaefer made the power rankings.
But you had him buried somewhere too,
So it does stir up. It gets people interested in there. But the power rankings will be updated.
Exactly. 3 weeks after, a week after he won the Jack, he's ranked 43rd. Exactly.
Well, Chris, if you're not a Texas team, I'm sure the Texas teams are taking the top at least 8, right?
There's a lot of people that love to hear it, and then I get grief about it after that, and it's fun to do.
He loves it.
It's fun. We Phil Breeden is currently leading
our
power
rankings. Top 10 right now in the power rankings.
Say that again.
Let's spit them out, bro.
Who is your top 10?
Oh man, I can't. It's been a couple months, but Phil Breeden, I know Slaps was on the top 10. A guy named Randall Kendrick from Hideaway Ranch. He had 7 calls to get in there. Schaefer was in. I don't know. Was he in the top 10? I think he might have been in the top 10. All the guys that had 7.
Bullhorn?
East Texas. Bullhorn has never made an appearance on the top 10. We are just outside there. We're probably in number 21 spot. But no, we don't. I won't put myself up there. But it's fun. We do it just for fun and to maybe get people's eyes and get people talking about it. So that's one of the things we also do. And we also had, when Facebook had polls, we would actually pit masters,
I remember that.
Hey, rank your guys. And man, that got a lot of play, and they stopped doing polls on there. And so that got a lot of,
anything up on that, did you?
Grief. What's that?
Just some Russians. That's all.
Oh, we had Russian, we had Chinese spy balloons, we had them all, man. It was they were all checking us out. It was fun.
Anyway.
Oh yeah, Robert Smith. He's there. Carlos knows he's wanting to crack that. He's wanting to crack the power rankings for sure.
That's hilarious. That's awesome. I think that's great. I think that's another wonderful. The Russians.
They were there.
Oh wow. So that seems to be one of your show things that you do. We had a football team. I mean, Blaine Garrett. He came up with a football team that we had for. We had positions for everybody lined up on here. That was kind of fun.
Rooters and Tutors was a tight end. I remember that. You know, Paul was like a tight end. I remember that. I was like, oh, that's perfect, man. He could play tight end for Cowboys. I think you know.
He was. I mean, and just a great guy. I'll tell you what. We had such a blast with our class with Rooters and Tutors and all and Smoke Me Silly and Triple H and like we had a great time. We had loin. Like y'all don't even do loin, but we had a loin category because they do pork loin here in GBA and the Georgia Barbecue Association. So we had off the chain do pork loin. It was amazing. It was a great time. But you know, old Paul, he's just a great guy. Big old giant. Awesome. So anyway, all right. So I know we're getting close to an hour, and Bill's got at least 3 more of these to do tonight. So, before we end up, what do you, Bill? How can people reach you? Is there anything else you want to talk about other than buying the rib grind at the Atlanta Barbecue Store? What else you got?
Man, that's really it. Just buy the rib grind at Atlanta Barbecue Store. You know, so no, I don't really have much. You know, I'm good to go. So. Thanks for having me.
No, thanks for having me. Watch you again.
Man, I'm gonna
tomorrow night.
I'm supposed to be on Barbecue Central, but I think it's only like for 15 minutes or something. So.
Tomorrow night and
I'll
Wednesday.
probably be on the So Smoking Gooder show again.
No, I got to limit Bill. I've been called out.
So who do you have on your show this week, Rob?
We have Hector and Royal Villanueva. They won the Smoking on the Rio last year, so they're going to come on Wednesday night to talk about that, and we're going to talk about the big Smoking on the Rio big contest, and then got the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo. So the next 2 shows are going to be kind of focused on that. We actually go live from Houston on that Wednesday before the event, so it's going to be a good time.
That's something I keep trying to do, and it just never pans out for me. Bill Purvis is the defensive coordinator, just yelling and spitting chew on everyone. There you go.
Just pointing and pissing, pretty much. You
know. Well, good. Rob, so I mean, I know you've got a lot of different whatever taglines. How can people get in touch with you?
Rob at Bullhorn BBQ is my email. They can, check us out on Wednesdays. Like I said, if you want to find us on Instagram or whatever, TikTok. Bill's on TikTok. He's got me involved in that. And so Smoking Gooder show on that, but you can reach us on all socials and just reach out to us. We'd love to get in contact with you guys. And I do want to have some more out of state guests for sure on the show. So, Wes, you're watching. Let's get it. Let's make that happen. Brian, love to have you as well on.
I'd love to be on it.
Chris will be at Houston. Yeah, we can get Chris back on for sure.
There you go.
For his, he's pushing Bill on he's probably the most out of state person. We've had Blaine on. Blaine will be in Houston as well. So good times, man.
Blaine he's a fun dude to have on anyway. I might see if I can't get Schaefer to come on. I'm gonna have to reach back out to him, see if he can put in his busy schedule. He's like Bill, he's on some kind of show all the time. So we'll see what we can do.
What Chris is doing, a good thing for you to mention. He's practicing. He's coming to Texas and cooking half chickens, man. He's taking this Houston thing. I'd love for him to get a walk in Houston with chickens specifically because he's working it, man. He's really trying.
And he's cooking half chickens in these CBA tournaments where he could do his thighs and probably score a lot better, and maybe even I think on Uvalde. I think if Chris would have did thighs at Uvalde, he could have easily. He might have won it. He was, I think, 10th or 11th overall, and chicken's what killed him. So he walked in ribs and walked in brisket. So, but yeah, he's dedicated to figuring out that half chicken. So he's cooking a lot of half.
I do have one last question about CBA. Y'all keep talking about one round versus. Is that the only sanctioning body in Texas does one round, or do most of them do multiple rounds?
CBA is the only one that's single round.
Okay. And has that been a success?
I don't know about Central Texas. I'm not really sure about there. There's a smaller one called Central Texas, but
I think there are multiple around, like
yeah.
10-point
CBA
system as well.
Cumulative, and it's one round, similar to KCBS. Just
Okay.
no garnish, and they've got to use a knife and fork. So
Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear it. I know there was talk at one time about coming out to Georgia. Maybe one day that'll come true, and it'll be fun to go cook, and love to be a part of it any way we can.
right.
So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
well, good. Well, thanks again for coming on, Bill. Thank you for Rob for coming on. Telling you, if you want to watch a good, we're the Dollar General show of internet. You want to watch a top-notch show Wednesday nights? Go watch it. It's going to be awesome.
I appreciate that. No, this is a great show. Thanks for having me on, Brian. Man, it's been a blast. Love it.
Buddy. Y'all be good, and we will see you next week on Chewin the BBQ Fat. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Brian.